This is Hannibal here from thehannibaltv.com, and today, as my special guest, we have a man that is a 2-0 MMA fighter as a professional, and I believe he's also undefeated as an amateur. He is fighting Jack Swagger, aka Jake Hagar, former WWE Champion. He's a Bellator fighter. Brandon, the Bone Crusher Calton, how are you today, sir?
Doing well, sir. How are you?
Doing excellent. You are a very thick-looking man. Are you at the 265?
I'm at 263. Yes, sir.
263, wow. And how tall are you?
I'm about right at 6'5", 6'5 and a half.
Okay. How much notice have you had about this fight? Because I find it strange they only announced it a week before.
Yes, sir. It was about 3 weeks ago. Individual contacted me and asked if I was interested, and it's a blessing. So I was like, yeah, of course, why not? It's a great opportunity.
I understand from various sources that he's actually known that he's going to be fighting around this time for a while and has actually been training for a fight for a while. Have you been actively training before you got the call for this fight?
Yes, sir. That's correct.
We may have lost you for a second. So I was just asking before we lost you for a second. How often were you training before you got the call for this fight?
I've been training since August. I had a fight in August. I've not stopped because our plan was to drop to 265 anyway on my last fight, and I weighed in right at 272. And so that was my whole aspect, is getting the weight down, because as you announced in your last show, you think that my cardio might be a little bit different, but I'll promise you my cardio will be up to par.
Yeah, because I did watch some of your other fights, and it seemed that you haven't gone that far. You seem to be knocking them out or finishing them off early. So that's why that was the one concern I had for you.
Yes, sir. I mean, I can see what you're saying, and I totally respect that. But cardio is up to par. Last couple fights, I was around the 300 area, 290 area. So I got with a great, nutritionist, a great guy who's been training me. So different organization, Oxidine MMA, and I got an individual trying to help me. So prepping meals every Sunday, watching what I eat. It's been a huge success.
Now, I noticed you had, I think, 5 or 6 amateur fights. Why did you wait so long to turn pro?
I guess around here we have a lot of, they call it catch wrestling. So you kind of have to earn your keep to go pro. So a lot of people will take almost 10 fights as an amateur before they'll actually decide to let you go pro around here. So I guess what they say, you got to kind of show what you have and earn it before they give it to you.
And for those that don't know, could you tell us about your athletic background prior to getting into MMA? Because you've been a top-level athlete for a long time.
Yes, sir. I was a 2-time All-American at East Tennessee State University. I was a defensive lineman. I was then picked up Pittsburgh Steelers for 2 years, and then I was cut from Pittsburgh, and then from there on, it's just kind of been a fighting cycle. So I just kind of went from Pittsburgh, went straight to MMA, and just been kind of going nonstop since.
And I guess this is the biggest fight you've had by far up to this point. A big name like Jack Swagger. Did you see his last fight?
Yes, sir. I've watched all of his fights and downloaded everything. I mean, he's a great athlete by far. I mean, he'll be an All-American wrestler, and what he does day in and day out as an athlete, it's very impressive. So, like I said, I got nothing but respect for the individual. I mean, he's a great athlete.
What did you think about the circumstances involving the finish of his last fight? I guess there was a low blow and it was ruled a no contest. Are you at all concerned about the low blows going into this?
No, sir. I mean, that's just part of fighting. Is my, I hate that it, turned out that way, because I'm sure he didn't want it to end that way. But when you get in that cage, anything can happen. So, like I said, respect to him. I'm sure he didn't do it on purpose, like everybody's saying. Whatever the comments are made. I mean, everything's unpredictable whenever you shut that cage.
Now, are you surprised that they're putting this fight on the prelims since he's a former WWE champion? You're both undefeated. It's a heavyweight fight. You would think that this would be a main card fight.
I have no idea. I didn't even know where the fight order has been. Nobody's really told me, so I had no idea that was even the issue.
Yeah, according to the Wrestling Observer, Dave Meltzer, who writes that and follows MMA and wrestling, was a little surprised that apparently that's where it's going to be. But I guess it doesn't matter because the pay is going to be the same for you if you win, right? You get more money if you win in MMA.
Yes, sir, that's correct. I mean, that would be a blessing, but you got to go in and be. I don't know. You just got to be respectful who you're fighting against, and don't take things for granted. So it's just a blessing to go to Connecticut and have this opportunity.
Now, are you at all intimidated going in there against a guy that's he's been famous on worldwide TV? I don't think you fought anyone that's like as worldwide known as him so far.
No, I mean, I guess just the whole aspect. I'm sure he's used to this environment, and he's been in a lot of big shows, so of course the nerves will be there. But my whole thing is it's a respect issue. I mean, I respect the individual for what he does, and I guess just when you get the call to go to the big show, you just got to prepare for the best and see what happens.
Now, how is your strength in the gym? You look like a very strong guy. Could you tell us some of your lifts?
Yes, sir. Before I did my last cut, I still hold records in, Tennessee for bench and squat and et cetera. So I'm well over the 480 on the bench and et cetera. So I've been blessed in my career, just mostly just trying to stay healthy.
There's a fan on here asking about your calf kicks. How is your calf kicks?
I'm notorious for calf kicks. I guess a lot of people hate them, but I don't know if you've watched the other two fights, but I tend to have a pretty decent calf kick. So a lot of people can't stand it, but that's one of my favorite go-to moves, I guess.
I actually saw one of your fights, and I don't know what this guy was thinking. It was one of your amateur fights. You probably know which one I'm talking about. He's an overweight guy that really had no business in the cage, and
yes,
I don't know what he was thinking getting in there with you. Like, do you have any idea?
The individual was out of, I think he was out of Indiana. They called me up and was like, this individual weighs almost 460 pounds and he holds 2 belts. And he was supposed to be like an excellent grappler and et cetera. And there's like, well, we can't get nobody to fight him. And I was like, of course I'll do it. I don't care.
Yeah, I believe that may have been under 30 seconds.
Yes, sir. I mean, like I said, I've had issues trying to find fights in this area, Tri-Cities, Tennessee, Southwest Virginia. Mostly have to travel to get fights. And my promoter, Mr. Oxidine, Casey Oxidine, they've helped me dramatically. And like I said, traveling doesn't bother me. It's just going into an environment where you're not used to. That's the whole aspect that may be a whole lot different for me.
There's a fan on here that wants to know your thoughts on Ken Shamrock. Have you ever worked with him?
No comment.
He's a controversial character. Is there any UFC pioneers or UFC Hall of Famers that you look up to and kind of pattern yourself after?
Yeah, I'm more of a Tank Abbott kind of a guy. When I grew up, I watched the original UFCs whenever, it was chaos, but Tank Abbott, and I mean, he's just he's a beast, and I've always kind of looked up to him, and he's always just been kind of a bar fighter / get in the ring and just take care of business.
And of course, there's the big Khabib fight versus Justin Gaethje this weekend. Kevin wants to know your prediction for that.
I think Khabib, he's just the all around. He's a, as I would say, he's a freak of nature. I mean, the guy's an athlete, and he's a no-nonsense individual. So I'm saying Khalid probably will take the overall probably in around the second round, in my opinion.
And there's a fan on here asking how long you've had to train specifically for this fight. I guess the answer for that, you've already said it's been a couple of weeks, I guess.
Yes, sir. Approximately probably 4 weeks is when I got the call. I mean, we DVR'd and downloaded his last 3 fights, and we've kind of prepared for that. But everybody in our gym, it's jiu-jitsu, catch wrestling. So, and I know he's an all-American wrestler by far. He's a freak as well, and I'm sure he'll be shooting for me, and we'll just have to see what happens.
There's probably a good chance, I would say, that he's going to watch this interview. Would you have any message for him if he sees this?
Yeah, I mean, my message is to him. I mean, I know he's an athlete by far, and I have the utmost respect for him as well. And if I could talk to him, I would tell him, it's a business. I understand it's nothing personal. But I do appreciate him taking the fight and giving me the opportunity to come up. And like I said, I have the utmost respect for him, and I wish him the best of luck.
Now, Patrick is asking, you've already kind of answered this, but are you afraid of the low blows? And Patrick also says he expected more out of Hagar, but he hasn't been that impressive in the fights that he's done so far. To Patrick here.
My response to that is I think a lot of people don't understand the lot that Hagar is under. I mean, the guy was an All-American college athlete. It's hard to, wrestling it's a tough sport. And then him going to the showcase, with WWE and the things that he's been through, people can say what they want. He's an athlete. I mean, that's how he puts food on the table, and you have to respect that. But for the low blows, I don't foresee him to do anything shady. I mean, I think they've made such a big deal out of the last couple, ordeals with him having the low blows. I don't foresee it to happen, but if it happens, so be it. If it happens, we'll fight through it and continue to see what goes on.
Now, there's a fan on here asking your thoughts about CM Punk's MMA career. He didn't have near the background that Jake has, obviously.
I met CM Punk we was at the fights up in Norfolk, Virginia. He's an excellent individual. I have the utmost respect for him as well. I mean, what people don't realize, these guys are athletes, and people train hard for what they do. I mean, the wrestling aspect, the MMA aspect. I mean, the time that these people take away from their families and they're on the road. But CM Punk was first class when I met him there. And when you actually sit down and talk to these individuals, they're just like all of us. They're just human beings trying to make a living.
And there's a fan on here asking if you've had any interactions with Dan Severn, obviously another pro wrestler that's a former UFC champion.
No, sir. No, nobody. I've met Dan, but I've not had any interaction with him.
And there's another fan on here that wants to know if you've ever met Tank Abbott after being a fan of his.
That is
he
correct.
Actually watches this channel, so he might see this.
Yeah, I met Tank whenever I was 14 years old at the Arnold Classic when we was up in Ohio. I mean, he was up there, and I'm sure he don't remember, but he took the time to sign my shirt, and I still have the shirt. I was 14 years old, and that's whenever I started taking UFC serious, with him and the Gracies and the Shamrocks. It's incredible how far it's came. And, you got the Rampages and the Fight Oct. I mean, the list goes on and on for the Rich Franklins. I mean, it's a great sport. And I just wish people took the time to see what all these guys go through and what they put their bodies and their lives through.
Steve is asking, do you think that UFC and Bellator should eliminate weight classes and go back to the old school matchmaking of the 90s where there was no weight classes and less rules?
Well, that's kind of a catch-22 question, I guess, because, don't get me wrong. I mean, we're all created equal in aspect, but when you give up 100 pounds to an individual and things like that. I mean, it's just I don't think the odds are fair. Did I enjoy watching it? Yeah, of course I did. I enjoyed watching all those fights when they were mismatched. But realistically, if you want to have certain titles and belts and weight classes, you gotta hold that standard and make sure everybody's safe in that ring.
There's a fan on here that wants to know if you would ever consider pro wrestling if your MMA career goes well. And we've seen a lot of MMA fighters transition into pro wrestling. You obviously have the size for it.
I can probably say probably not, just to be honest with you. I really enjoy MMA, and like I said, I've been blessed to have this opportunity with Mr. Swagger, and I'll just foresee how this takes me. But there's just something about getting in that cage, being with somebody that's a whole lot, just a different aspect for me.
One wrestler that a fan is bringing up here, Bobby Lashley, actually had a really good MMA career.
Yes, sir.
What did you think about his MMA career, and do you think that he made the right choice going back? Do you think he made the right choice going back to wrestling because he was doing pretty well in MMA?
I mean, I understand maybe the money aspect of that, but for Bobby, I mean, he, like I said, he's a freak athlete, and at the end of the day, you got to put food on the table, and you got to take care of the things, and that's being yourself. So, what Bobby's decision was on that, you have to respect. But he was a freak in the ring. He's a great MMA fighter. He really is.
And for the people, I won't get into, obviously, about some of the people that say, oh, you're just being given
Yes, sir.
to Hagar to be fed to him and so forth.
Correct.
What do you have to say about people that think that about you?
I just want people to realize, I can understand how they're saying that things are getting thrown to him, and but that's that's people's opinion, and that's why I'm on the show now, to show how things are different. I mean, I'm just a guy from Southwest Virginia, Tri-Cities, Tennessee area who was fighting for Showcase MMA, and I was blessed by an individual to give me this opportunity. So I can promise you, I will go in there and give it 110%. I'm not going to lay down. I'm not going to just sit there and flop and do something to give him a win. I mean, there's a reason why I'm coming to Connecticut, and trust me, I want to win just as bad as he does.
Could you tell us a little bit about your training in an average day? Like, what time would you get up? What would your workouts be like throughout the course of a day?
Right now, it's for the last 3 weeks, it's been kind of crazy because I was at 283. So we did a 6-meal cycle with protein, and we done some things with some other carb variations. But get up in the morning before I go to work. Been doing an hour of cardio, and then we jump it up, and Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Oh, he froze for a second, but he'll be back.
Are you there?
Yeah, it cut where you said you get up before you go to work.
Yes, sir. Just mostly get up before I go to work, and I do my cardio sessions in the morning, and then when I get off work, every night we either have jiu-jitsu or ground and pound or catch wrestling, or we only have one day a week off, and that's usually on Saturday, and that's just but ever since we got the call to go up, I've not took a day off yet, and I've been taking plenty of Epsom salt baths, I promise you.
And where can fans follow you if they want to look you up on social media?
You can look up. I'm not really a big, social media guy. I've never been. I'm just kind of the guy who's always under the radar that they call to come and fight. But I have Fuma98. It's on Instagram, and then of course my name is just Brandon Calton on Facebook. Bone Crusher. I got known that name for one of my fights for picking a guy up and breaking his ribs, and the name stuck with the name. And I have a Twitter account.
Oh, we lost you again for a second. We lost you just as you were saying how you got the name Bone Crusher.
I was blessed to get the name. I picked the individual up, and I guess I slammed him or whatnot, and broke all his ribs, and then it kind of just stuck from there. Just the Bone Crusher.
I see. And there's a couple more fan questions on here. Who's your biggest win, best fight for people that want to look you up?
I would say there's two fights. The last fight you probably haven't got to see yet was with Larry. Both guys from around Atlanta. Larry Green was a Golden Glove boxer that I beat in the second round, and we fought. And then the other Green guy who was he's a huge individual. He weighed about 320 pounds. He was a beast, and he had excellent grappling, excellent ground game. And I came back in the second round and won that amateur fight as well. And I would say both Green guys from out of Atlanta was a huge test because they both were super athletes.
There's a fan on here asking how your BJJ skills are.
Well, the organization that I come from, we don't really do a lot of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Like I said, we do a lot of catch wrestling. I don't know what a lot of people know what that is. It's mostly Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu without the gi. I mean, we kind of do things in a sense where it's more of a defensive tactic instead of like, a lot of people wear gi and etc. So our tactics are just a little bit different most, but my BJJ is not bad at all. I've been blessed to have some excellent coaches, and we'll just kind of leave it at that.
And there's a fan on here. We know you're not going to really reveal your game plan, but he's asking how you plan to combat Hagar's great wrestling background.
I really that's a tough question because I mean the guy's like I said, he's an excellent athlete, and I'm sure he wouldn't have any problems trying to take me down at all. It's just I don't know. I guess just keep my guard up and stay on my A game, and just trying to watch a couple of things that hopefully will keep me out of the spotlight, I guess.
There's a fan on here asking if there's going to be fans in the crowd at this fight.
No, sir, not to my knowledge. To my knowledge, that I'm being flown up, and me and my team is being quarantined because of the coronavirus. So therefore, I don't believe there's any fans going to be allowed.
There's another fan that wants to know if Brock Lesnar had fought Bobby Lashley in MMA, who do you think would have won that one?
Once again, I'm a Brock Lesnar fan. I mean, I got the most respect for that individual as well because he was kind of at the era when he got out of WWE, tried out for the Vikings. He gave football a shot, and then he gave UFC a shot. He's a great athlete, and I have a lot of respect for Brock Lesnar. I met him once in Bristol, Virginia at a wrestling tournament, and he took the time to talk to me. He's a first class individual as well. Like I say, a lot of people, you get to talk to these people, you'll see that they're just humans like us, but they're just trying to make a living as well.
Bro Dog is asking how you think the fight will end if you had to make a prediction. Decision, submission, knockout.
No comment. I'm just an individual that I really don't get into all that. I guess that's why October 29th on Thursday night, I guess that's why we'll find out. So I don't really have a comment for that.
Do you know if this is going to be just live on Spike TV, or do people have to order it? How can they watch this fight?
To my knowledge, they are announcing it's supposed to be on CBS Sports, and I don't know what channel that is on Dish or DirecTV, but CBS Sports is what the channel is. It's supposed to be on live.
Now, this is off topic, but a few fans have asked it because we do cover the UFO subject a bit on this channel. What is your opinion on UFOs, if any?
I don't really have an opinion on that. I mean, I'm blessed to work for the government, but I've never really had an issue or any thoughts on UFOs.
Sean has a good question here. How would you rate Jake Hagar's stand-up skills?
I really don't know how to rate his skills because his fights, he's always just kind of went to the clinch. I mean, I'm sure he's got great striking capabilities, but I don't really know how to rate it. I'm sure that they're there. I mean, the guy, he's very lean. He's got great reach. I'm sure if he had to turn it up, he has excellent hands. I don't really know how to rate him. I I guess I'll find out whenever he punches me in the face, and I'll kind of let him know after after the fight's over.
Well, we wish you good luck. Thanks for taking the time to speak with us. We really appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
And we'll let you close this off with whatever message you want to give the fans about this big fight coming up next week.
Mostly, like I said, Bellator, I appreciate the opportunity, but thank God above for the health, and I just pray that, like I said, I wish him the best of luck as well. I don't thrive on seeing people get hurt or anything like that. So Bellator and for him giving me the opportunity to come up and try and show my skills and my capabilities, but mostly from where I'm from, all we have around here is just coal mines, and things are different here in Tri-Cities and in Southwest Virginia. But I'm just truly blessed for the opportunity and for you to take the time to put me on your show. I appreciate that as well. But I appreciate everybody being first class and all my sponsors, and I'm truly blessed to have this opportunity. It's a blessing.